Hello, and welcome to Witchy Woman Podcast. I am your host, DaNae Sweet, and this is episode 141. Today is going to be a really fun episode. I had an amazing chat with the Coven about what we wish we would have knew in the beginning of our witchcraft journey, as well as fails that we have had along the way, like things that went incredibly wrong, and just normalizing that. I still fail to this day. There's plenty of things that I do wrong. I start shit on fire. I have spells flop. I have spells backfire and cause me bad consequences. Shit happens, and I think that needs to be shared more among the witchcraft community, and I thought this would be a great way to just kind of share our experiences with everybody. Thank you to all the Coven members that were able to join. I know not everybody can join at those times, and I'm sorry that I can't schedule it when everybody possibly, when all people can join, but I do appreciate the people that can, and I'm sorry when everybody can't join. I'm going to try to do this at least once a month. I guess it would be just once a month because we have every other week is our podcast schedule. Yeah. I have cut down on caffeine because my blood pressure was a little high, so if I'm groggy, it's because I'm on like day 4 of limited caffeine, so I'm like less than peppy. That's why. It's been a minute since I've done like personal like story time, and there isn't much going on, which actually is kind of refreshing. But Maddie, people have been asking how Maddie's doing. She's actually doing fabulous. She is healthy and happy, and I could not be more proud of her. She's doing some traveling and having amazing experiences, and I love her so much, and I'm very, very proud of how she's embracing life at the moment. Brad and I are doing great. The, world is what it is, and we're just trying to roll with the punches. Yeah. We all have, our day-to-day struggles. I still have shitty days and have to deal with mental health, bullshit like normal. But I guess considering we're in year 3 of a pandemic, we have world conflict and conflict in our own country and all the things that are going on like that. I guess I really can't complain too much. COVID is still kind of like, I guess I have long COVID symptoms. I have a cough that kind of pops up now and then. I have a weird tingly thing on my fingers that won't go away. Like if I touch something, I think I mentioned it maybe in one of the last episodes, but I don't remember. But anyway, if I touch something too many times, it sounds weird, but if I like pet my dog too many times or brush my horse, or like when I'm shaving my legs, I know that sounds really weird, or brushing my hair, like the tips of my fingers will tingle really, like almost like they're falling asleep, but they're not. I don't have like blood loss or anything, so I'm like look at them and I have my capillary refill is fine. But it's just this weird neurological, or I don't know, weird nerve thing, I guess. That seems to be something weird that has kind of hung on after COVID. But other than that, I think I'm okay. I consider myself lucky. Brad is fine. And yeah, everything's okay. I think that's what we can hope for right now, right? The book. So I am releasing my witches planner, a witchcraft activity planner book. It's a ringed binder. Jesus, DaNae. It's a ringed like bound planner for witchcraft. So it's a full year. It's like you can write in whatever month you start on, so you doesn't have to start in January. And it's just for witchcraft. So you can plan out like full moon, new moon rituals, sabbats. It's got tarot stuff in it, like you can do tarot or oracle, like a monthly, like a month ahead or a week ahead spread. There are places for gratitude and also for complaining, because god damn it, we gotta get that shit out, right? What else is there? Oh, there's like a spell tracker and also a research tracker. So if you're like reading books or looking shit up on the internet and you want to keep track of like what you're actually reading and you like the resources, you can kind of put it down and then rate it if you like it or if you don't. So that's actually going to be available for purchase on March 5th. You can look that, you can get those by going to my website, witchywomanpodcast.com. I will have it listed there. So look out for that. I'll make sure that I post that all over my social media when the link is live. So March 5th, look for that. I'm going to try to get that up first thing in the morning on March 5th. I'll make sure that I am very loud and clear about when it goes up on that date, but look for that on March 5th. I also may have another little surprise that may be live also on March 5th, but I don't know exactly if it will or not. So I don't want to spoil it if it's not going to be ready by then, but I may have another thing available also on that date. So let's get to the conversation. It was hilarious and informative and fun, and I get to know these Coven members.
I love that it tells you now that we're recording.
That surprised me.
Right? I know, that's a new upgrade. They added some background, so now I can there's more backgrounds on like stock ones that I can put on there. And now they say when it's starting to record, and then they'll say when it ends. Like when I push the stop button.
I like how you can blur the background personally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm outside, because it's nice out here right now.
I wish it was nice. I'm like having a serious like perimenopausal day, but outside it's cold as shit.
I'm in California, so it's the opposite.
Oh,
Same. Yeah, I'm in California too. It's like 70.
Yeah.
Oh, I miss that.
Yeah.
I miss
I'm
that.
in California, so I will get snow in the next couple weeks, but it's fine.
I miss it. SoCal was so expensive to live, but I loved the weather. Okay, so I thought we'd talk about what we wish we would have known in the beginning of our witchcraft journeys, and then also share some fails. I have lots. So I thought we would share like things we did or have done that totally backfired, things like that. So I'll share like one of the things that I thought that was a thing when I first started. So I was like, I don't know, like 13 or 14 or something like that. And I got a book, and it was a Wiccan book, and it shows you like Wiccan religion, it's a Wiccan religion, is all about like honoring the moon and the goddess, the duality of the Lord and the lady and stuff. So I'm like, that's the first thing I ever got to learn about, because that's the first book I really got. So I'm like learning about Wicca, and I'm like, I had the assumption that you had to honor a deity to be a witch. Like nobody told me that you didn't have to honor a deity. So when I first started, I was like, oh, I guess I have to honor, I had to honor a deity, and nobody told me I didn't. And it took me a while, but I figured it out myself. But I wish somebody would have told me, like, there's no requirements for you to be a witch. You don't have to, or, honor a deity and practice witchcraft. That was like a huge thing for me. And that's why, like, when somebody messages me, they're like, I don't know, I don't want to honor a deity. Does that make me less of a witch? No, it does not. Witchcraft is secular to begin with anyway. So, So anybody want to share one?
Oh, I got one. Okay, so I have found that there are a lot of toxic people in witchcraft that like to leech on your energy. and like not knowing that you need to shield and ground yourself all the time, because I'll be in like even in a store where people are just like walking past, and once you open yourself up to that kind of stuff, oh my gosh, it can be bad.
Absolutely.
And just all the negative energy around that you can just is there, and you don't realize that in the beginning.
No, I thought it was like, woohoo, we're all witches, we all love each other, and it's gonna be the best day ever. Like, you know what I mean? No, it's not. Anybody else have something they want to share that they wish they knew in the beginning of your journey, that you know now?
I would say two. I'll pick one. Labels. Don't rush or think like you need to believe in a certain thing or be labeled a certain thing or you're special because so and so told you this. Take it slow, chill, and just kind of go wherever your interests take you. And that's kind of like the little breadcrumbs from spirit.
Yes.
Slow down, chill.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I thought that I had to do the year to day. They talk about the year to day. I thought I had to. I'm like, well, I can't call myself a witch until I've done the year and a day. So I got, I think it was Silver Raven. I've got one of Silver's books, and I did the year and a day, and I'm like, I can finally be a real witch now. Blah, blah. No, I could have been, called myself in the beginning if I wanted to, but I was so hung up on, well, in order to be this label, I had to fulfill somebody else's expectations of what that was, and I didn't, realize that at the time. So yeah, labels, no rush. Pick your own, because they change.
Find your morals, your personal morals, not what other people tell you is right or wrong. It's what you believe to be right or wrong. That's like your solid foundation there.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely.
I feel like people like, if you say you're a green witch, then you can only work with herbs. Well, what if I want to work with the ocean one day? Like, you can dabble in other things and not have to focus on what the label is.
Yes. I feel like being a witch for me is being able to use the elements in my craft, all of them. And while I may tend to work with some over the others, I think that like nailing myself down to like being, like you said, being a green witch only, that like closes off what you could be experiencing from the other elements. Like you're limiting your your empowerment through the other elements, and I think that's really like,
I'm teaching some witches right now about what kind of spells they do, and a lot of them are like, do I have to burn stuff all the time? Like, one of them almost caught like their house on fire the other day, and
nice.
I'm like, no, you can do other stuff. You don't have to burn stuff. You can put stuff in water and have it melt. You can bury it in the ground. You can make sachet. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, it
doesn't have to be burning.
No, not everybody can either. Like, if you live in an apartment and you're gonna set off the smoke alarms all the time, you're gonna start to get complaints from your neighbors. So burning stuff isn't always, ideal. Does anybody else have any they want to share? Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. I honestly, first of all, because I'm the first one born in this country and my family is from the Caribbean, astounded at how many things, and even here, how many things we've done our whole lives, and it's and it's amazing. And I now look around and I just kind of smile at people when they do their, the blowing out the candles on the birthday cake and, all sorts of things like that. And, one of the things though, that I always thought was like something in books, the sisterhood. And I love it so much. Yes. I love just seeing all of you here. Like, you think it can be a lonely path, but when you find these people that are so in tune with how you feel And it's so different from what everyone else feels. And you just kind of look at each other and you're like, are you a unicorn too?
Yes, absolutely.
Melt into yourself because you're so happy. And so what I've noticed is like just waiting for tonight, the joy, the utter excitement. Like this is what I looked forward to for days and days, just to be in this group among sisters and just to kind of like just know that we all, even though it's different paths, different ways, but we all have that same regard. And I just think it's so beautiful and it's so uniting. And it's so, yeah.
And it can be that way. And I see like, there's other social media platforms that I think, and there's toxicity in any group of people because we're human. But I like the way, you know, our group is, because we have like all kinds of witches. We've got satanic witches, we have secular ones, we have non-secular, every pantheon you can think of as far as deities, and and everybody can contribute and listen and be seen. And I know that there's other groups out there like that, but this is the first time I've actually experienced that too, where I could actually feel seen and go, hey guys, I really fucked up, want to hear about it? And not feel like completely judged.
Yes, that's the huge part, is the judgment. Like,
it is.
And that's why I listened to your podcast and I said, nope, this is the one I'm listening to. Because you let everybody be themselves without any conditions, and you just let people be. And I'm like, I'm waiting for the but or the if or the maybe you should, and you never did that. And you stole my heart.
Well, thank you. That's a kind of, I wanted that because in the beginning, one, it was all by myself. But all the books I read had such rigid ideas of how things were supposed to be. Mind you, this is literally before Google. Like before Google, I had like the game I played on the computer was the kind that like the little ball that went back and forth and hit the wall. That's the computer games we played.
Oh.
Yeah. So the only thing I had to reference was books that were, you know, Wicca was the big thing because that is what was out there. That's what the books were published. And there's nothing against Wicca. I love the religion. That's all there was out there. And they have a lot of rules. And when you're 14, you don't want rules, you know? So for me in my journey, that's what I wanted for other people, is the things that I didn't have. I wanted inclusion and non-judgment and freedom to express yourself, because honestly, the only way that you can learn is by trying the things, doing the things and failing. And dude, I have failed so many times. Speaking of the fire thing, I've started things on fire multiple times throughout totally. I've started my hair on fire. I have started my robes, like my like clothing that I wear during rituals, on fire. That's why I have a fire thingy, extinguisher in my room. I highly recommend everybody have one of those little mini extinguishers in your place where you practice witchcraft, because at some point you're going to start something on fire. Yeah, always. Anybody else have any wish you knew things in the beginning?
Oh, I have one.
Yes.
Kind of piggybacking on what we said earlier, you don't need smoke to cleanse your space. My dog can't handle smoke. It gets all blocked up in her nose.
Aww.
And you can totally do, like, for your divination, you can stick a piece of selenite on your cards, or divination, or clapping, and then cleaning supplies. You can add moon water. There's so many other ways than just smoke cleansing if you get creative.
Yep. And that's something that I didn't know in the beginning either. I thought you had to like burn some nasty ass weed, you know, and go crash out. You don't have to. I love the idea of moon water in my cleaning supplies. Like, it's such an easy thing to do, just to like drop some in there, or in your mop water, and it's free. You stick some water outside and it's free. The other thing I want to talk about is, like, in the beginning of my craft, I thought that I had to have all the tools, because in the books they lay out what should be on your altar, and you have to have an athame and a bowling knife, and I had to have a bell and a all the things, 2 candles and a statue. And I was hesitant to like at first even do spells because I felt like I didn't have the things to put at my altar to complete the spells because I didn't have the things. Like we live in Nebraska, like BFE nowhere. You can't exactly go down to any store and like, do you have an athame? I used a butter knife. That's what I used. I literally stole a butter knife from my mom, and that's what I used. So you can get kind of creative with your tools, but you don't have to have all those tools. Not something I wish somebody would have been like, oh, honey, don't buy that shit. Do what you got to do. If you need a butter knife to do then use the damn butter knife. And my advice for people that are using everyday tools for their craft is to just consecrate them, make them sacred by doing something special. Like I love to stick anything that's going to be on my altar or that I will use it as a tool. I do some kind of process in which I cleanse it. So like you said, spray some moon water on it if it's something you can put water on. If it's not, sit in a bowl of salt overnight or however long you want to. Use all kinds of things you can do to cleanse the energy of it and then bless it. And I love to use like I have this an all-purpose oil that I use just for like anointing things. That's what I use to make things sacred. So I'll just like put a little bit on there and boof, now my butter knife is a sacred tool from my altar. And now I know that, and I wish somebody would have told me that. Like, you can make anything a sacred tool. You just have to go through the process of doing it. And you really don't need all the things to make that happen either. Some salt, a bowl of salt and some moon water is completely fine to make that tool a special consecrated item for you. Yeah. Did anybody else use weird things like butter knives in their practice when they were younger?
Oh, I would use pebbles and rocks that I find sticks. I still do that now, but like, yeah, just a random little quartz rock off the sidewalk. Just bless that, cleanse that, put protective juju in that. And hey, look, it's as protective as tourmaline now.
It is. Yeah. I would draw symbols on them, and I still do that. I don't know. I can't remember what class. It was one of the protection classes I taught, and like the ones here in the group. And we did that. I said, go pick up just a stone out of your driveway. I don't care where it comes from. Just get a stone, and we're going to put some protective symbols on it and bless it so that you can carry it with you. It's the simple things to me that make this whole process, this whole practice special. Like you said, like all of the things that we do every day that we don't realize is even witchy or part of, witchcraft practice, but we do them. I think that part's really cool. Oh my gosh. I have to, did anybody else, when you first started your magical journey, I read the damn book and they said they had to make up a magical name. Like I couldn't have my own name. I had to make up a magical name. I have ADHD and bipolar disorder. And at the time I was an untreated teenager with ADHD and all of that stuff. So I overthought that shit so hard. I mean, I stopped practicing for like weeks because I couldn't think of a freaking name. I ended up with like something about Raven Wolf Fairy or Fairy Raven something or other. I don't remember what it was, but it was ridiculous. Like it didn't even make sense. Anybody else do that?
Yeah,
Raven.
I have ADHD too, and I was obsessing over it. And then I grew up in a pagan family, so like I went to my mom and I was like, "Do I have to have a weird middle name? And my weird like witch name?" And she's like, "Just use your middle name," because my middle name is like witchy. Yeah, it's Bronwyn. So like, my mom was like, "Just use that." I was like, "Okay."
I know like the significance, and I realize now the purpose of having that witchy name to use in your practice, if that's how you choose to practice. So I totally get it now, but back then I was like, well, I can't practice anything until I freaking figure out my goddamn witchy name. So I guess I'm just screwed until I do that. And it was really it was like, because everything at that age, everything's dramatic. I mean, everything. Like everything. So it was like this huge thing. And I remember like my parents even noticed that I was kind of down the dumps and a little extra edgy. And they're like, you okay? You okay? Okay. And my mom was like, is there a boy? And I didn't want to, I could not. My parents are First Baptist members. And I'm like, I can't tell you that I just want to make up a magical name in my stupid head. My brain won't make the things happen. And I just was like, oh, I just have cramps. Like, I didn't know what else to say.
Poor little DaNae.
I have cramps. That would usually make them both go away. So like an angry teenager with PMS is something that people usually go,
All right, I'll let you sort that out on your own.
yeah, exactly. So those are just some of the things, but I imagine there's tons like now because there's so much information. Like back then, I think we had a lack of information or a lack of voices because really the predominant voice that you could read books from were white females that were usually Wiccan or some kind of organized craft. It wasn't like being an eclectic solitary practitioner was like, ew. Back then. So there wasn't enough voices. There was no really any books that I know of back then that I didn't get my hands on any of them that were anything from POC authors or anything of an opposing view or a different viewpoint than a white female or the occasional white male. Of course, we had Buckland and Crowley and we had those guys, but they were problematic. So those things, I think now we have so much information. I can't imagine just being flooded with all of this from so many voices, which on one hand is awesome. And on the other would be like, to me, so overwhelming. I don't like, my personality would be frozen. I would have like disassociate and have complete like, whatever that is where you just can't do anything because you're so overwhelmed. So I feel for all the new witches.
That's how I feel right now is because I a metaphysical store, and so my whole life is like work metaphysical store. I teach classes at the metaphysical store, and then like I listen to podcasts. My whole life is witchy right now, and I'm like, whoa. Had to talk to my priestess today, like I think I might need to take a step back from the coven.
Yeah,
and she was like, go for it.
I think breaks are needed. Like,
yes,
people don't talk about that enough. Like, you need a break from this stuff. And that's how my life pretty much is. It's, witchy crap 24/7, which I do love, but sometimes I just need a damn break. And for me, it's usually the spiritual stuff that starts, because I am a pagan and I do honor deities. So I'm non-secular in my witchcraft practice. Usually it's the spiritual stuff that starts to like, I need to put that down for a little bit. I'm like, guys, everybody, like I'm taking a time out. And I will just kind of like drop everything for a little bit and have some like human time in like the real world, like the present moment and just being me. And I think that's very important. Or burnout, trust me, I am a multiple offender of burnout. So breaks are good. Do the thing.
We're here for human experience. Let's be present for the experience. We have plenty of time to see the spirit realm eventually.
Yes. And I'm trying to do like this year, I'm really trying to focus on being present and enjoying the things. Like just not necessarily meditating every day, because I've sort of kind of said, screw that. I do that at night when I go to sleep. But like my form of mindfulness now is like smelling the coffee when I brew it. I'm like, God, that smells good. I'm so in the moment right then. Or today, the snow was like little tiny balls, and I went outside and I watched them fall on my sweater. And that was just so magical, but I was very present. That to me is mindfulness. I was really, really present. I was enjoying it. I was thankful for the moisture. So to me, I'm trying to put mindfulness into practice as like a way of living instead of, well, it's 9:30, it's time to meditate for 30 minutes and then sit down and make myself, do the things. So that's just something that I do now. There's somebody that did join. Hey, Megan, if you want to join, she's live in the Coven. If you want to join the Zoomy Zoom, the link is in the event and posted in the Coven. So yeah. Want to talk about fails? Okay, sure. Okay, so the first time I actually got an altar cloth was I went to Walmart with my family and I got a black handkerchief. Like, to me, that was what was accessible. And I'm like, cool beans, I have an altar cloth now. So I put this down. So imagine my room has carpet, my teenage room. It's in the basement. I have carpet. Nobody comes down there because it's a teenager's domain and it's kind of like cavey down there. So I could do certain things, and I wanted to start doing things on the full moon. I wasn't like doing new moon stuff. I was like, okay, full moon rolls around and I want to at least like light a candle and like be, the witchy me that I can. And I would like open up my basement, like those top window thingies, so I could get some moon, light into my room. And I had this candle that I stole from Mom. She had like an emergency, like box. It was a shoe box. And it had all these like white candles in it. And it was supposed to be for when the lights went out. So we had a bunch of candles. Well, I just went and stole. That's what I used for my candles. So I sat my altar cloth down on my dresser and like got the candle on there. And I'm like, God, I'm so goddamn witchy right now. So this is my teenage me. I'm living like the craft type stuff. And I'm just like enjoying it. And I'm reciting, I believe I was doing the Charge of the Goddess is what I was reciting. So I'm like reciting the Charge of the Goddess. I'm like, oh, I'm so awesome. My cat Daisy jumps on the freaking dresser, like goes like this and was rubbing and knocks that sucker over. It flipped over, started my altar cloth on fire, or my handkerchief. I'm freaking out. I'm like, ah! So what do? I threw it on my carpet, and then the carpet, like this little thing of carpet. So I'm like, fuck, so I grab my entire like comforter off of my bed and like just dog pile on the fire and smothered it. So, it wasn't a huge fire, but it was definitely my first like, oh shit, I should probably be careful with this stuff. And maybe the cat shouldn't be in here. Yeah. So I had to like hide. There was a little piece that got bad, like a silver dollar maybe or larger size, that burnt on my carpet. And I'm like, okay, I got to do something about this. My parents are going to shit. So I got in my closet and I had like made a little cutout with some like cardboard that I drew to make sure that I knew how big of a carpet piece that I needed. So I drew that. I cut a piece of carpet out of my closet because nobody's going to know. And then I cut the crappy part out and then just slid it in. And I'm like, I thought I was the biggest, badass, sneaky person. Like, I am so awesome. They're never going to know. Eventually she found it. She was like, what's this? I'm like, I don't know. There was a stain there. So that's how I fixed it. So yeah. Fail. I thought I was like in it too. I was like, I had written the whole charge out by hand and I put it in my little journal and I was reading the whole thing and then whoof. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah. Anybody else do something like that? Anybody else start anything on fire? I know you have, Becca.
Well, yes. One time what was I doing? I had a protection candle going and I was doing divination and I think I was reaching for some herbs or something. I had to lean over my table and I was wearing some rune beads in my hair in a braid. When some buddy dipped it, I'm sure some trickster dipped it into the candle.
Oh no, oh no.
The braid caught fire. I started hearing a sizzle. I'm like, what's that? Then I saw like yellow out of the corner of my eye. I'm like,
oh God.
Oh. And I just grabbed it, I just grabbed it and held on, and then it snuffed it out. But I'm like,
Oh my god.
oh.
You're lucky you didn't burn like a hole, like a patch out of your hair.
I'm lucky I was wearing the rune beads.
Yeah.
Is why I was lucky.
Oh
Those things
my
are metal.
god.
Yeah.
Yes. Fire extinguishers. Everybody needs one.
I keep one in a metal bucket with a Kevlar blanket next
that's
to
a
my
great-
room. So
That's good to know because I don't have one, and now I gotta keep one.
Yes. Highly recommend something. And I always keep a really big thing of water too, like a big something like this big giant cup full of water just off to the side in case it's something I can just toss some water on. Just you never know. So yeah, anybody else have any like accidents or fails in that department?
Not in fire, but I have some with the spirit realm
Ooh,
I've done.
okay.
you should.
So my friend and I are experimenting with, not experimenting, but we both are making like trying to make ourselves more open, right?
Mhm.
So she's spending the night, and there are a ton of graveyards around here. So in the middle of the night, her and I look at each other and we're like, let's go to a graveyard. That was not a good idea. I put all the protection stuff. She's a very newbie witch. And it was my bad. Like I put all the stones on me. I put like I sprayed some Florida water. I did all the things.
Mhm.
And she just sprayed some Florida water, but I didn't give her any stones, which was totally my bad. And so we drive to the graveyard, and all of a sudden there's a, they're telling me, no, don't come in here. Don't come in here.
Oh, no.
I'm like, okay, this is past. And then as we're driving past, I see things run across the graveyard because you can see it from the road. And there's like a gate and like, oh my gosh. And we turn around and I park right in front of it where we can see in. And then we see a shadow figure look at us. And then she gets so nauseous and then she throws up.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's
so
a whole lot of nope.
Oh my-
yeah. And I was like, let's go. So we left. And that was a bad idea.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And then after the medium that kind of like helps us out at the shop I go to, she was like, that was a bad idea. We're like, yeah, we know.
Yeah.
This was not that long ago. This was like 2 months ago.
It happens.
How you learn, experience, right,
Yes,
wrong.
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
Does anybody have a spell backfire?
I have not had that yet, actually. Well, I've done an abundance ritual, and I wasn't specific enough, and I found $1 on the sidewalk.
Dude, I've done that. Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. I've done that one in high school. I liked a boy. And I thought, and think 16-year-old teenage lust. I'm like, I really like this person. I'm gonna do a love spell. And now you hear, don't do a love, don't do that. That's bad. Whew, there's all kinds of warnings on why. So anyway, I do this spell that I kind of like Frankenstein together. And I didn't put his name on anything. I just was like, oh, I just love this boy. And I want this boy from high school to want me back. And so I did the spell. I go to school, and a couple days later, a totally different boy that I had no interest in, all of a sudden has all the interest in the world in me. Almost to the obsession point. And I'm like, oh fuck. How do I undo that? I had no idea how to undo it. I'm like, so I get home and I'm like, okay, what did I use? Because it goes on for 2 weeks where he's asking me out. I'm saying no, nothing got inappropriate, but it was very, very annoying. And I realized the error of my ways, and I'm like, this is not fair. So I go back to the house, and I'm like, what do I do? How do I undo it? Because I don't know. So I grabbed all of the things that I used, and I threw I had a candle. I put the rest of the candle in. I threw my butter knife, all the things I used, and I put it in because this is like the 90s. I put it in the burn barrel because we're in the country and you just burn your trash back then. So I threw it all in the burn barrel, and I'm like, threw some diesel on it and some gas and like lit that shit on fire. And I'm like, okay, please, goddess. Like, I'm like praying to her. I'm like, goddess, reverse this. I fucked up. I am so sorry. I'll do whatever you want. I just need this to be reversed because I learned my lesson. I'm so sorry. And that was the first time I had did a spell and like immediately saw I fucked up. So I learned that early. I don't do love spells. I never, since then, I've never fucked with a love spell. Like, that's the end of that.
Yeah, I personally, I just can't. I can't. It has to be authentic. It has to feel authentic for me. I wouldn't. It would irritate the hell out of me if I knew it was just something that I did to influence it. And
and that's kind of what, like, and as an adult now, that's how I feel about it. Like, my hormones at that age did not care at the time. You know,
if 16-year-old Becca practiced, I'm sure she would do the same thing.
But it was a good lesson to learn, and I think that normalizing that we fuck up is a good thing. Like, this is everything. Life is messy. We are humans. We fuck up, and we are not perfection. We are not deities. We are not demigods. We are humans, and we fuck up. And that's how we learn. I definitely learned something from that. I learned that, one, I don't feel comfortable bending someone's will to like me in that way. It felt immoral. So there, I learned where my morals are as far as love spells. Like, that was a learning experience for me. Two, I learned that if I really, I burnt everything. And I know that's not really the traditional way of like undoing a spell, but my intention was so strong and I was so upset. Like, and I like gave offerings to goddess. Like, I was like bringing her everything I could think of after that, just to make sure that she could please undo what I had done. And I learned the power of like being a devotional, pagan. And I think that also taught me a lesson. Like, okay, so I asked her to do the thing, and because I was genuine about it and I followed through on my offerings, she helped me fix it. So I learned a lot that whole week, 2 weeks.
There's a lot of power in intention.
It is. Yeah. Anybody else do spells where they felt like they got a slap back like I did?
No, but I do want to say, I'm just not speaking because I'm very new to this.
It's okay.
I haven't made any mistakes yet because I haven't done anything yet.
It's okay.
But I promise, when I make my first mistake, I will tell you.
Okay, you start messing up soon enough.
About it.
You guys are teaching me everything, so I'm very, very happy to be listening.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not saying anything.
That's okay. No,
it's only
like,
been a few months.
Yes. We should start having like a monthly. So everybody post your fails. Like, let's share, like, come clean. What'd you do? I have, when I learned about, and keep in mind, no Google. And I wouldn't dare search, because the only thing we had at the house was like, we eventually got a computer, but it was so slow and you had to like turn on, like we couldn't answer the phone. So it was dial up. So it doesn't have much there, but we did have them at school, but they monitored what we searched. So I didn't dare just type in how to hex somebody. So another like teenage, like knee-jerk reaction I had is someone in school that was like after my boyfriend, or so I thought that they were. And I'm like, I'm gonna put her in a jar and I'm gonna do a hex thing and all this stuff. And eventually I got enough guts to like, I told my mom and dad, I have to do some research for a paper at school. So I have to use the internet, for this, leave me alone. So they're like, okay, whatever. And I looked up, like, this is where chat rooms, Yahoo and AOL chat rooms. This is where I got my first like interaction with other witches. And they're like, oh, fuck yeah, you can like, pee in a jar and like put their name in it and do all this stuff and like, shake it up and whatever. And that'll make their life miserable. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Okay, we can do that. We can totally do that. Nobody told me time periods or put a limitation on it or how do you get rid of it. Like nobody told me any of this stuff. So I'm thinking, okay, girl, you may be mad and I just want you to suffer because I am an angry, basically like hidden, closeted goth. So I'm like, so I get out mom's like ball canning jars, and I get all those into my room and I'm like peeing in a jar and doing all the things that I was told from this person in a random chat room. And AOL, yes. So Megan's like, oh my God, ASL. So yes, if anybody was, I think my username was Daisy D because of my cat. So if anybody, hey, Daisy D on AOL. So I do the thing and I just want her to fucking suffer. I'm so upset. I just want her to suffer. So I do the thing and I don't know where to put the jar. Nobody tells me where to put the jar. I personally like to put them in certain places, in my home. I have a special like cabinet that's protected in my house that if I really want to put somebody in a jar, that's where they go. But I just put it on my like dresser, like whatever. So Megan says she was AA Princess 343 on AOL. Anybody else on AOL? I'm probably too old. Yeah, you were on AOL too? Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I can't remember my name, but I was on AOL.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Remember when you could like make a sandwich and like get something to drink while you were waiting for it to like load up?
Yeah. Yep.
Are you kidding me? I was the kid that played the Oregon Trail. That was our first computer game.
Me too. I love that game. Oh, I died of dysentery a lot. Like a lot. So yes. So I did this thing. I peed in a jar. I went down to my dad's shop and like found a bunch of nails and I put the nails in there and I threw her name in the jar and I was so mad. And I did that thing. So I went to school, everything was fine. And she broke her arm that week. And I learned super quick. Oh, fuck. Like it could have very well been. We are country kids and we do weird shit. We will like for fun when back in the day, we were like, you want to go like, four-wheeling and, out in the middle of nowhere with no parents, jump things. Do you want to ride your horses? And often that's what we were doing. Do you want to ride your horse? And we would play games like tag, and tag was like push each other off the horse. So anyway, she broke her arm doing some said country folk stuff. And I'm like, did I do that? Was that me? Oh my God. Well, that happened to her. And then everybody had to do sports. We were a very small little village and everybody had to play like volleyball and basketball and all that stuff. I ended up hurting myself like pretty bad, like my knee, the same freaking week. Like she broke her arm, I fucked up my knee. And I'm like, oh God, that's my fault. Like I brought this shit on myself. And I'm like, this is my fault. So I, again, tossed the piss jar in the burn barrel because that's what worked before. And I started, stole some diesel and gas and started on fire, big poof. And I was, did the same thing. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have done that. I fucked up. Please fix it. Please fix it. And, from then on, I'm very selective about any baneful magic that I ever use. I'm very selective. If I'm going to use it, it's a good reason.
I just want to say I love your reversal methods. Just nuke it, and it didn't happen. Maybe a little begging.
Yeah.
We're good.
Right. Yeah. And the only reason I knew to put diesel on something with the gas is because I'm a country person. And when you burn a burn barrel or a big pile of stuff, if you stick diesel on it, it helps the longevity of that fire to stay going. So I'm like, I want this shit to burn until there's nothing left. So diesel and gas. It also makes a really cool poof. So yeah. And nobody says anything because I just tell them I was taking out the trash. The burn barrel needs burned. They would never question me. My parents. So it was nothing to see your teenage child with, a gas can and a diesel can heading towards the burn barrel. There's like, that was not a, yeah. Now I'd be like, wait, what are you doing? Yeah. So that was the next really bad. That one backfired on me where it hurt me physically. And like I said, it very well could have been like completely coincidental because we are high risk, takers as teenagers. That's just how you are. Our frontal lobe says we are invincible at that age because it hasn't developed all the way. But the fact that I did that spell, it really, really affected me, and it taught me a lesson about baneful magic. So Megan is going to join us. Let's see. So yeah, it was one of those things where I was so embarrassed. I'm like, I cannot believe I did something like this. And from then on, I was like, treated that person really, really nice. Like, you can have my boyfriend. You can have him. I don't care. Oh yeah. Hey Megan.
I had to join to tell you. Oh my goodness, my first failure.
Ooh.
I was thinking about, what all I've done and what all. But I think the funniest one is whenever I made my first witch's bottle.
Ooh.
And it was my first bottle spell. I mean, in general.
Mm-hmm.
I underestimated how long it took the candle to burn, for one.
Oh, no.
And it didn't turn out like I planned. So my husband was coming home, and this candle is burning so slow, and I'm sitting there like, okay, this bitch has to hurry up. Like, I cannot come in here and see these pins and glass and piss in a jar. Like, like, this has to hurry. And so I'm sitting there the whole time, like, watching it, like, okay, like, come on, like, thinking if I watch it, that it'll burn faster or something.
Well, yeah.
It didn't. It was so bad. And then it didn't even cover my black candle was purple, and it didn't even cover most of the stuff that was in it. So you can still see straight through it and still see.
You still see all the things.
Yep.
Yeah, it happens.
It does.
I love the fail stories because that just makes us all human. It really does. Like, it does.
I laughed. I mean, when it was said and done, I was like, oh, that was pretty damn funny.
I think it's important for us to do those things because we learn from them. Yeah. Like, we learn.
Oh, I did. I learned a lot.
Yeah. That's good.
Expect the unexpected.
Oh, yes. Yes.
You made me think of something that didn't necessarily backfire. It did its job just a little too well. I'm green witchcraft. I like making teas and working with herbs and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I need a purge. I need a release. I need to get this out. Something. Yeah. So but I can't. So I made a tea with like hyssop and all the purge, good stuff. Mm-hmm. And I charged it, I drank it, fell asleep. The next day I was just like bawling all day and PMS-y without the PMS, and I'm like, why am I a wreck right now?
Oh my god, yes. That's one of those, if you really want it, make sure you really want it before you ask for it type things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You really brace yourself. Take the next day off. Take the next couple days off. Make sure to plan accordingly.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. I love those. When the heart chakra just like opens full bore and just like yeah. I don't know why this made me think of it, but so because I'm a very like, I have heart chakra. Everybody has heart chakra issues, but I have problems opening up and letting that trauma out. And sometimes just I need to purge. I need to cry, and I can't make myself cry. I will watch like Grey's Anatomy or something super like something really, really sad. That way I can purge. Like that's my like, okay, bitch, you need to cry. I'm gonna watch something sad. And I will make myself sad. Like do that.
We're gonna cry, god damn it.
Yeah, I'm like, you're gonna cry. I have, snacks, and we have all of our favorite things and some tissues, and we're gonna cry.
Yep.
I think it's needed. It's needed every once in a while.
Absolutely.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. But the last time I cried, I'm like, because I saw it on a movie or some cartoon. I don't know when I saw it. Oh, Harry Potter. They collected theirs. Remember when Snape was dying and he got his tear? So last time I cried, I'm like, I want my tears. I don't know if I'm going to use them because I know they'll just dry and I get all crusty up in that jar. But I still took them and put them. I have these little like test bottles for oils. I'm like, that's perfect. So I'm like, squeeze. So I have my tears. I have no idea what I'm going to use them for. I do that a lot in my practice. I'm like, ooh, I want that. And now, exactly. I don't know what I use this for, but I squeegeed all my tears into this little tiny bottle. Yeah.
How does it make you feel that you essentially milked yourself of tears?
I did. Yeah. I milked my tear gland. Yeah, I don't even know what that'd be good for. But I took them. Maybe an offering for one of my deities at some point.
I would say an offering to a deity that's like, divine, feminine, emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my tears, emo.
Yeah.
Vibes.
Yeah. Maybe use it when you need to cry.
That's a good, be like, all right, heart chakra, this is going to be a thing. I thought about adding them because I make an oil for myself for like self-care, self-love, and to kind of open up the heart center. And I thought I could scrape it out of there and put the salt that what was my tears and put it in that oil and kind of like use that in there. Maybe, I don't know.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
The salt of my tears anointed my oil.
Yeah. Inspired by Harry Potter.
Yeah. I feel like I've seen that a lot lately though, with people saying like bottle your tears.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just me. I don't know.
I just
but I've heard that
do weird things, and I'm like, that's neat.
I've thought about it.
Yeah, I keep bodily fluids just cause.
Milk your tears.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'll use it at some point. Yeah. I'm trying to think of other things that I've done that's just. Oh yeah, the most common thing that will happen to me in back is my abundance spells will backfire, and it'll, like you said earlier, Becca, like I'll get like $1. I'll find like I'll be doing the laundry and I'll get a handful of change. Like that was
that's how all but one of my abundance spells worked out.
I'm like, and I want to be specific, so I will overthink it because that's what I do to everything. I'm like, well, I want to be specific because I need this amount of money to do this thing, but I don't want to like limit myself. So maybe I don't want to be specific, and that's where I go wrong. So I have started asking, like, if I have a bill coming up that I don't have the money, I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, okay, I need to manifest like $500. I will say $500 or more. Instead from now on, that's like from then on, that's kind of how I do my manifestation stuff. I need this much or more. I don't need less than that. I need that or more. Put a timeline on it too, instead of like I need this by next Friday. Like this has to be next Friday. And the way I do that is make my little incantation. I make a poem, and all that's worked in there.
I think one of the biggest. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, if I've dried herbs and left them for a really long time and not like grabbed them, they get all dusty because I have cats. And then I think one time I grabbed it and I was like, cool, I'll put this in a tea, and I put it in the tea and I didn't drink it, but I saw like the cat hair on it and I was like,
oh god,
don't do it. Don't do it.
No. No.
So careful. Or putting things in tea that don't taste good, like mugwort.
Yeah.
I love mugwort.
Teas, not jest.
Yeah. No. I get a lot of I take my cat's hair, like I will keep her hair or her whiskers, or sometimes I find little claws and I'm like, that's mine. Like,
Oh, I would too.
It sounds disgusting, but I keep all that stuff.
No, I would. I would totally do that if I had a cat.
Yep. I keep that, and then like my horse had some teeth pulled out last summer, so I kept the teeth of the horse. Like I keep everything, like little bits of my animals. Because you can use like cat whiskers and claws and things like that in spells, so or to make charms or little charm bags. I like to use that kind of stuff in that. Especially for like deities like Hecate. She, you often see her depicted with her black dogs. Well, I just happen to have black dog. And she's also depicted sometimes with black horses. I also have black horses, so I will take some of their mane or something like that and tie it up and make it a little charm and as an offering for her. So things like that.
I love that.
Yes.
Yeah, I like to use what I have. I try really hard to use the things like that are in my immediate environment. And of course, like some of these orbs over here, I had to buy or I grew them because they're not naturally here. But I really do try to use the stuff that's around me.
I have a hard time because I'm in a metaphysical store 4 times a week, and like all the things I want to buy, I'm like, oh, I want that. Oh, new bell. Okay. Oh, new mortar and pestle. Cauldron, tarot cards. Tarot cards and oracle cards. Oh my gosh.
I would be broke. I have no self-control. Yeah, none. No impulse control. I'd be screwed. That's so the tarot thing. I was told the reason I did not get a tarot deck in the beginning is because I was that stupid thing that people tell you have to have somebody gift you your first tarot deck. I didn't know any damn witches in real life. It's not like anybody was going to give me their tarot deck. So I didn't have one until I was an adult, because then I could go buy my own. But that's the reason I didn't snatch one from the bookstore while we were on like a school trip or something like I did with the book. I couldn't do that. I couldn't go buy things because I was like, nope, that's a thing. I can't have that happen. Somebody has to give me one. And I still got those questions in my inbox. Like, is this a thing? No, it's not a thing. Go buy
that one. Got me too. That got me too. Made me so sad. I'm like, I don't have any friends though. I'll never be able to read tarot.
Right? I'm like, no, just go buy your deck. Go buy your deck.
Yeah, that was me too. I did the same thing. I remember reading that and thinking like, well, that's a bummer. I will never own a tarot deck.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but I wasn't into it too long before I was like, oh wait, I'm gonna buy my own.
Yeah, I want my own. Yeah.
I'm gonna see how this goes, but let's just try it.
Why not?
Yeah.
There's no limit to how many decks you can get either. There is nothing stopping you from buying as many as you want.
My husband would like to disagree.
Mine too.
Yeah. He's like, no. I specifically got told this month we probably shouldn't be spending extra stuff. Now, instead I bought plants. I bought spite plants. So I can't remember what he did. He did something. So I bought 150 bulbs of a certain plant, a flower that he doesn't like. So there'll be 100.
I like it.
Spiteful gardening. Spite gardening. Yes. So there'll be 150 plants. It's going to be glorious. Wonderful. I'm very excited. It's going to be so
that for you.
They had a deal. It was like hollandbulbs.com or something like that. And they have a deal right now where you can buy like bulk deals. And it was like $30 or $35 for 150 bulbs. Yes.
So bad. Yeah.
It's a really great deal. I'm like, I need that. So there will be lots of color at the new property. I'm going to plant them up there. So I have lots of new color up there. And I'm so excited.
Spite flowers.
Yeah, they're my spite flowers, and I'm very excited about them. Who else did like couldn't wait for like spring to happen and has already planted?
Mhm.
Yeah, I did too.
I'm finishing my witch room right now, so I'm trying to like not buy plants so I can put them in my witch room.
I started tomatoes, peppers, peas, and spinach because I just couldn't help it. It's in my grow cabinet. And when they get big enough, I'll just transfer them to big pots. But yeah, I saw the seeds one day and I was left unsupervised and it happened. So I planted way too early. Oh well. I always had a hard time with tomatoes here, like starting them from seed. Like it's cold out there. So I always put them out there too soon. So this year, that's fine. They're gonna stay in here till it's good and warm out there.
I'm trying to propagate what I already have so I don't spend money yet. I have seeds I want to buy, but I'll propagate first.
I have a whole bunch of seeds that I didn't use last year because I like planted half of the seed pack because I'm stingy. So I'll be planting like the other half. I got like the baneful herbs, so I'm doing those again. So I'll be doing belladonna and a couple different variants of henbane. I actually got a yellow version of belladonna that I failed to cultivate last year, but I'm gonna try again this year. And what else did I get? There's Mandrake. Mandrake was actually easier to get to grow from a seed than I thought it would be. Everybody was like, it's gonna be terrible, but it's not terrible. It's not that bad. I get them all. Somebody was asking. I get them from what was it called? Something Spiritual Alchemy or something like that.com. I'll put it in the show notes and I'll post it in the group too. But there's two places that I get my seeds from. Strictly Medicinal Seeds, really a great place as well to get like witchy stuff from. And it's not that hard to grow them by seed or from seed. There was something else. I can't remember what it was that I was going to say, but it's gone now. ADHD.
Yeah. I have the, Llewellyn Witch's date book.
Oh, yeah.
And it shows in there, to plant, like when to plant, when to harvest.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, well, I don't have a green thumb. Let's just say that. Okay. So whenever it's saying plant, I'm thinking, well, my ground is frozen, so I don't really know what.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
is today really a good day?
Yeah.
What?
I go with whenever I feel like it because rebel gardener.
Right.
Maybe that's a new thing. I know that you're supposed to plant on certain cycles of the moon and things like that, but I have no, as I said before, I have no impulse control, and I decided, screw it, I want the seed planted now, so I do. Which is
how I totally, that's my life.
Yeah. I can't help it. It happens. I did last year take the seeds, so up here, you can see that shelf. I've got seeds from my plants from last year, so I did let some of the flowers and things seed out. And I kept them because I'm like, ooh, I wonder if I can like make my own. Because I would really like to, once I get the belladonna going, I want to see if I can like cross-pollinate the atropa and then this yellow version and see what happens.
Ooh.
Plant nerd.
I want to be a plant nerd. I would love to be.
Do it.
It'll happen. It'll just happen, just like how the mason jars just happen.
It does. It sneaks up on you and like, oh my God, where do these plants come from?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I figure one of these days it will happen, but
yep. It will.
Just bless my plants.
You can also take stuff from outside. Like this, somebody told me this, and I have forever, this is so freeing, and I feel like a rebel badass when I do it. So go to a garden store, and if a leaf has fallen on the floor, it's fair game to propagate.
I have not thought about that.
Somebody did a TikTok, and they're like, watch this. And she like brought her purse is like empty, and she's like, goes to all the garden stores in her town, like home improvement, all of them. And she just starts picking up all of the stuff that's on the ground. And she goes home and just puts them all in, water propagation, little dishes and jars and things. They're free.
That's me. That's me. That's me.
Yeah. I'm like, this is what I want. This is what I want. They're just going to sweep them up and throw them away. So,
right.
Free plants.
You
just got to be patient, Why not? You just got to be patient enough to wait for them to propagate, but it's fine. Cut off all of the leaves, like make sure don't put the leaf in the water, make sure it's just the stem. So I like to use like a little bit of whatever cord I've got like hemp cord, and I will just like loosely wrap it around there and then put it on the edges with some tape so that she don't dunk all the way down in there. Then
that's smart.
It gets icky if their leaves get in it. So I'll peel off all the leaves, but like one leaf, and then put it in. That way it has more energy to make roots. There's some
I'm
stuff.
hopeful this year.
Do it. Go. I think we all should have this band of like rogue gardeners that just get free things from all the garden stores.
Yes. Yeah, I'm in.
I go to one for work, so I might be able to pull that out.
Do it.
Yeah.
Soon we shall take over the world.
Exactly. Rogue gardeners. I did see at somebody, like one of the courses on TikTok, so take it with a grain of salt, but somebody was one of the gardening accounts I follow, like it's a big garden farm, and they said that when they ordered their plant seeds, to plant all their things for their garden store, there was like a shortage. They got messages or emails from all of their suppliers saying that there's a shortage of like seeds to buy in bulk. And he was like, that's a really cool thing. You might think that that's like, oh my God, that's a terrible thing. But think about it. Like people are actually trying to grow their own food. Like to me, that's freaking cool as hell. Like more people in the US are trying to grow their food than they did in previous years. So I think that's awesome. Like once we take over our own like ability to make food, like we're unstoppable.
A bunch of people out there like me, just trying and failing. So having to buy more.
You'll be good. You'll figure it out eventually. The seeds, don't let them get dry. Make sure they're always moist. If they get, once you plant them, keep them moist. You don't have to like water them like with a pitcher every day, but like spray the soil down so it's not overwatering, but that works out really well. And if you are like somebody who forgets, use those little they're the little peat moss discs that you get wet and then they get big, and then you just plant the seed in the middle of it, and then you put put that in, like I use the baking tins that are like $1, and I line them all up in there. And then I bottom water it, or you can use an egg carton. I used an egg carton last year for some of it and worked great. So then so I tore off the egg carton so that the little peat moss things just stick in there like eggs, and then I would water just the underneath of it. So then the water would soak up from the underneath and not rot it out. So I would just wait until I soaked it all up and it looked like it was getting, not dry, but like it was kind of needing a little bit more. And then I would just put a little more in the egg carton. It was cheap and it worked really well. And it was it was easier for me, then I didn't have to water them as often if I bottom watered like that with those little peat moss deals. Yeah. Because I will forget. I have 1,000 things like on my phone. I have all these notifications on here and like alarms, but I still will forget.
Right. Yeah, me too.
So that's what I use because I'm cheap.
That's awesome.
I don't want to buy those little those like seed starter things are like $35 for like the little compartments and all the little deals. No, I'm not paying for that.
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's what I've seen. But it's my year. That's it.
It's your year. You're gonna start out with something simple to grow. Like rosemary to me is really easy to grow. It's
My rosemary just died.
Rosemary or rue, and rosemary will die and it might have just gone dormant because it's winter. So your plants in the wintertime, even though they're inside, they may wilt and get a little icky. Their leaves might fall off, they might kind of, but it's because they're still seasonal that they're cycling. So keep watering it, make sure it's getting sunlight, and see if it comes back. That's what I've learned with those.
Might have been the problem.
Yep.
I think I might have forgot to water them and the sunlight thing, but whatever. It was thriving for like a month.
Yeah.
It was thriving.
Also, rosemary is a protective plant. I use it a lot of times for protection. I will use the plant and basically use the plant. This plant is now the target, not me. And if that plant dies, something shitty hit it and not me. So my plants will sacrifice themselves sometimes for that. So if somebody's like just jealous of you or throwing some shade, sometimes your plants will catch that, especially plants that are inherently protective. So that could have been the case as well. I've had my plants I had my money plant die out of the blue, just take a shit and die. And I'm like, what happened to you? So I did some workings and I, uncovered some things. Well, somebody had done some kind of, working against my financials, which whatever. So I definitely fixed that. But that tree, my little money plant, died. Like it took the brunt of it because that's how I have set my things up. Like my finances, that's why I have a money tree, is because if somebody's going to go after my business, the tree dies, the plant dies. So now I have to go buy myself a new one. So
that's smart.
Yeah. So look at your plants. And if they've always been healthy and the environment has not changed and you don't have spider mites or anything weird like that happening to them, a fungus or root rot, think about who might be throwing shade at you. And it doesn't have to be a witch. It could just be somebody being an asshole. And just every time they see you or they see you online, they're like, fuck, I hate that girl. That's still like throwing energy your way. So,
right.
So that's kind of, I love my plants and they protect me. And I know once they're dead like that, I do reuse them. So like the parts of that plant, I will cleanse her of the things that she caught. And then I will use her in my practice in some way, shape, or form. So that's a pretty the plant with the braids, the money trees with the braids. So I'll probably use that as some kind of altar decoration or something like that because she did her job and I appreciate it. So I will do something to honor her. I know that sounds really plant nerdy, but that's what I love it. That's what I'll do for her.
So I love offerings too. Death deities, that's a good way to honor it too.
Yes, I will give them. So say if my rosemary plant had died, then I would probably I would take the top part, the stems and all the little rosemary pieces, and I would use those and, for one thing, the stems for one thing and the root for something else after I've cleansed it, and probably for offerings and different little things like that. I like using the different parts of the plants are for different parts of your magic. So yeah, plant nerds. I'll have to share. I will share the links for those the links for those seed companies. I'm gonna cough one more time, I think. Stupid COVID. If anybody's have it, I sympathize. This sucks so bad. It doesn't go away. The stupid cough. I feel good. My body's good. I'm yay, I feel great. I have no more headaches or weird shit going on. I have coughs and then this weird thing in my hands, this nerve thing where if I touch something repetitively too long, sounded dirty, but if I touch something like this, if I'm doing that, now my hands just buzz, the nerve endings on my fingers feel like I touched electricity. And this
So
was
you
not, yeah.
superpowers.
So yeah, maybe I can like zap people now or something.
Yeah.
But it's weird, like
Right.
it's almost like my fingers are asleep, and like you know how when your hand like something falls asleep and then they start waking up your body. That's what it kind of feels like. It's really weird.
That's the second
Yeah.
time I've heard someone say that. And
Really?
yes, and it's funny because my two cousins, one of them had it, and he's a casino dealer. I'm in South Jersey, so I'm like all farms,
Yeah.
and Atlantic City is like 10 minutes away from me. And so now when he's dealing cards, his fingers they feel like when they fall asleep and then they come back, that tingling.
Yeah.
Like it's like the most bizarre feeling because he's constantly playing blackjack. And his fingers, they just start slipping out of his hands.
Yeah, that would be awful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly what he said though. That tingling, almost like when your hand falls asleep and it starts to come back.
Yeah. It sucks. And I started noticing it when the first time I was able to like go outside and do something. I went outside and I was like brushing my horse and like playing with her mane, and I was like, what in the fuck is going on with my hands? This is not okay. It felt awful. I hope it goes away because it's kind of annoying. But at least I can smell and I can taste, things. I did have weird smell issues for just a few days. Like mint smelled like citrus for a little bit. I was like, that's weird. It kind of fucked with my brain. But then it just went back to normal. So I guess that's yay. Yeah, I feel bad for anybody who has any kind of weird ass symptoms after COVID. It's weird. Yeah. Well,
Crazy.
Yeah. Fucking COVID.
Right.
I wish it would go away. I don't think it's going to. It's gonna be our norm for a while. But I wish it would go away. It'd be great.
Kind of a bummer.
It is a bummer because I want to go do stuff. But I also don't want to get sick or get anybody else sick. So it's like this whole I want to do stuff, but should I? Traveling has become a moral thing. Do I go do this thing or do I not? So I don't know what to do.
My phone's about to die, so I'm going to say
bye. All right. See you. Yes, I should probably we should probably, it's like almost 8:00 here. So I'm hungry. I got to get to my ice cream.
Yeah, ice cream for dinner.
Yes, ice cream. I had, the other day, I was just feeling it. So I got unicorn waffles. They're so good. They're at the store, unicorn waffles, and I put blueberries and blueberry syrup and some whipped cream, and that's what I had for supper.
That sounds delicious.
It was so good. Oh my god, it was so good. Yeah.
Some chocolate syrup on there.
Mm-hmm. We both went in the store. Brad's like, what do you want for supper? And we didn't have anything. I need to get groceries. I'm like, just pick out something for supper. And I'm like, I'm gonna pick out something for me. You pick out what you want. And so he's thinking, I'm gonna get some kind of noodles or something quick to microwave meal. Nope.
Unicorn
they also
waffles.
have birthday cake kind. So if you like that sprinkly birthday cake kind, like the cake, they have those.
Ooh.
That's my next.
That's cake.
Yeah.
That's cake for breakfast.
Yes, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Probably.
It has happened. Let's not lie.
Yeah, probably tomorrow I will be getting those. So, well, thank you guys for joining. I appreciate it. And yeah, I love this. I like that we're going to be doing this more often. We're doing podcasts twice a month, and I'm going to do one interview and then one with the Coven. So that way it'll be like off and on.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. And we'll try to do different topics that we can all talk about things. And I'll put a poll up. I think I'm going to put a poll and be like, what topics do you guys want to talk about during the Coven Chat? We can kind of talk about what you want to talk about.
I love it.
Cool beans. Well, everybody have an awesome rest of your night, and stay warm if you're in the freezing area.
Thank you, DaNae.
Thanks, DaNae.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you again to everybody who participated. I had a blast. I absolutely love doing the episodes this way, and I cannot wait to do more of them. If you would like to join the Coven, go to the website, witchywomanpodcast.com. Click on Join the Coven. Again, the Witchcraft Planner comes out March 5th. Look for that on across my social media and on my website. What else? Yeah, I guess that's it. So until next time, stay witchy. Bye-bye.